Hi everybody, my name is Angie. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, I'm a mom to 4. I love to homeschool, I love to read good books, and I love to share both of those things on this channel. So if you are interested in either of those things, please consider subscribing. So today's video is a book video. I haven't done a book tag in ages, and I have always loved watching the end of the year book tag videos. So this is originally put out by Ariel Bissett. I think she started it a couple of years ago. I'll try and find the original and link it below, or I'll just link her channel because she's really fun. And I think her intention with this tag was to give you a couple of months left in the year to complete some of these book goals. So it's not something you put out a couple weeks before the end of 2020. So I decided to do this at the beginning of November. So let's just get into the questions. So the first question is, are there any books you have started this year that you need to finish? I guess I don't really feel like I need to read any of these books, but there are some that I picked up earlier in the year that I really want to get to. So the first being this book. It's A Short History of Nearly Everything by Bill Bryson. So this is a fantastic book so far. I've read a number of chapters. It is a science book, but it's written towards everybody. So it's not that you have to be a scientist to read it. And it covers a broad range of topics, everything, I guess. And since my background is more in biology, microbiology, things like that, I just have always been fascinated about things like physics or astrophysics or the Big Bang Theory, which was really the initial reason I picked this up, was to kind of understand that a little bit better as I get into making a prehistory unit for my kids for homeschooling. And so if you're at all interested in what I'm going to be using for that, look for that video kind of in the new year maybe. Anyway, I really want to finish this one. And I got a little sidetracked because I'm currently reading this book, which is a little similar. It's The Story of Earth, the first 4.5 billion years from stardust to living planet. And this is by Robert Hazen. And so I've really enjoyed this one because he really dives into what scientists know and understand about that time just after the Big Bang. Like, so you're talking what kind of particles are there, what kind of minerals are there, and he is a geologist or mineralogist, so he really focuses in on that, which I find really interesting when it's talking about like, and how do you get from a helium, hydrogen universe to an oxygen, phosphorus, and all the other kind of elements in the world. So I just thought that was really interesting. I don't take them as like fact all the time, but I think it is really interesting to know what is being found out and to just think about it for ourselves. So I've really enjoyed this. I'm working my way through that. So these two are kind of my science nonfiction books that I always have going if I'm not getting distracted by fiction books. And then I guess here's another nonfiction that I keep wanting to finish up, and that's White Rage by Carol Anderson. I picked this up this past summer and it has been really good. I feel like I read like a chapter of it and then I need some time to kind of digest it and process it because it's just heavy and weighty, but it's very, very good. And so I've really enjoyed it. It's about really the history of African American people in the US. It starts around the Civil War. So it doesn't go all the way back to like the slave trade. It starts more a little bit right before the Civil War, especially after the Civil War, and going from there. So I think it's so far a really good read, and I've learned a lot. And I want to finish it up. And I intend to. It's something that I know I will finish. It's just a matter of I have to read it kind of slowly. It's not a breeze through book, if you will. So those books are the ones I want to finish that I have started. The second question is, do I have any autumn books to transition into the end of the year with? And so yes, I do. I think books in the fall and kind of spooky and fun books are just enjoyable. And so I picked this up in my latest book of the month book, so it might have been October. And this is Magic Lessons by Alice Hoffman. And so this is the very first book. It's like the prequel to Practical Magic. And so it looks really good. It basically tells the story of the initial curse on this family, which I forgot, the Owens family, where at least in Practical Magic, they are unlucky in love. Something bad always happens. And so this goes way back, so 1600s in England, and it talks about kind of their ancestors, if you will. And I just love when stories do that. I haven't read Practical Magic. It is on my list. I have watched the movie, and I really enjoyed the movie, and I want to read all 3 books. And I almost picked up Practical Magic first, but I tend to like things in order, historically speaking. And so I like to read books kind of in chronological order. And so I really want to start with this one. And it's about witches. I guess I didn't really mention that. It's kind of witchy vibes. So it's very fall. And I definitely want to get to it. I'm so excited for it. I picked it up and I've had some other books to read, but I want to get to that one. Third question, is there a new release I'm still waiting for? No, not really. I've just been in a really busy season, which I've shared a lot about the fact that I'm moving on this channel. And that's just a lot with small kids and still trying to homeschool and pack up the house and all of that. So I haven't really been tracking down any awesome new releases that I know I will love, even though I'm sure there are some out there. But I did pick up this book, or at least I had this pre-ordered and it came in October, so I'm just going to count it because I haven't read it yet, but it is here. And that's The Devil in the Dark Waters by Stuart Turton, because this is the author of The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, which I loved. I think that is maybe still my only book review on this channel, because I just thought it was so interesting and strange and weird, but in a really good way. Like, it's confusing, but I was still all about it, if that makes sense. Some books, if they're too confusing, I just ditch them. But that book was great. And so this is his second book. It's not a series. It's just the second book he's written, I believe. And I'm so looking forward to it. It has to do with the ocean, and then there is potentially something bad going on. There's a crime committed, and there's a potential bad guy. I expect it to be kind of strange and twisty like the other one. So this book sounds so good. Okay, fourth question is, what are the 4 books I want to read before the end of the year? So, okay, let me get into them. There's a couple books here. These top 2, The Alice Network and Winter House, were on my 5-star predictions list, and I'm just slowly working my way through that list. And I'm excited to get to both of those. The Alice Network is a World War II and World War I story, so it's a historical fiction story about this woman who was a part of the spy network during World War I, and then somehow surfaces after World War II, and there's some mystery that needs to be solved. So it sounds really good, and that's by Kate Quinn. So I've been wanting to pick up a Kate Quinn, specifically this one, for a while. And then this book, Winter House by Ben Gutterson, I've also highlighted on this channel a number of times. It's more of a middle grade mystery novel, and it's just really cute and really beautiful, like the cover, and it has pictures throughout. And I'm reading it because I think my kids would like it. It has to do with this girl who is an orphan, and she lives with her aunt and uncle, and they send her off to school, or to this place called Winter House. And she needs to make friends, and then she finds this really cool library with these cool books, and there's some sort of magical element to the house, and she's somehow involved. And it sounds really, really cute and really interesting. And I'm pre-reading it to see if my kids might be a touch young, but I want to get them into mysteries. I think mysteries are really fun and just good for the brain to like work out clues and all that stuff. So I want to read that by the end of the year, and it is called Winter House, so it will be perfect kind of going into December and things like that. And then the third book I want to get to by the end of the year is The Devil in the Dark Water, and I just described it, but that is definitely on my short list, probably along with Magic Lessons. So those books I'm really excited for, and I think I can still read all that. As the holidays come, it gets a little bit busier, but we'll be done moving, and I just feel like I'll have a little bit more time. Then the fifth question, is there a book that you think could still shock you and become your new favorite of the year? Which I don't know, because my current favorite is still As Bright as Heaven by Susan Meisner, which I loved and actually made. It wasn't a review video per se, it was kind of a comparison video on Spanish flu books. So see that if you are interested, but that is still my favorite book of the year. So if one could potentially shock me, I think it might be this one, which I'm about 50 pages into reading currently. It's Anxious People by Frederick Bachman. I saw this book and it sounded funny, and I'm not sure if that's truly how it's going to work out, but it's about a bank robber who turns hostage holder of people in this apartment open house. And it just sounds very quirky and interesting, and like the first 50 pages are interesting, especially in the writing style. The way the author is like talking to the reader is just different than what I've read recently, and so it is unique, and the storylines all seem to be very interconnected, and it just is interesting. It's definitely not in my normal category of books I love, historical fiction, nonfiction, science, things like that. but I'm curious. So it's good so far. I'm sure I'll finish it shortly. It's going pretty quickly, but that's the one that has the potential to shock me. Okay, the last question is, have I made any reading plans for 2021 yet? Not really. Like I said, I'm pretty busy. I have some ideas in my head, kind of some videos I might want to make or different challenges I want to set up. Like I'm thinking about doing a TBR jar, which a lot of people do. That's not very unique, but it would be really fun, and I enjoy that kind of stuff, like pulling out a title of a book that I haven't read but that is on my shelves. So that's a potential. I'm also thinking about maybe collecting and putting together a shelf of books of some of my favorite YouTubers' books. I feel like in January, everybody puts out their favorite books of the previous year. So like of 2020, what are people's favorite books? And I have a number of different channels that I have highlighted on my channel, especially the ones that are historical fiction. So maybe that's what I'll do. Maybe I'll take the channels I highlighted, maybe I'll see what their favorite historical fiction was from the year. That sounds kind of fun. So things like that I'm kind of thinking about and potentially going to make happen in January. But that's about it. I don't really have any plans other than that, other than I'm excited for another year of reading. I've had a good year. I know 2020 has been a peculiar year, but I have enjoyed a number of really, really awesome books. So yeah, that is what I have for this tag. I think it's very fun. I think anybody who has a booktube channel should definitely do it. It was fun for me to think about how I want to end the year, at least in my reading life. So anyway, thank you for taking the time to watch the video, and please consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel if you aren't already subscribed, and otherwise I will see you in the next book video, and have a fantastic day. All right, I'll talk to you later.